Good evening, viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Godwin Iwe Juma, and you're tuned in to Real Talk for Global Audience, our program where we discuss issues, relationship as it affects people all over the world. So, as usual, my Real Talk co-host are here with me all the way from Toronto, Canada is my colleague, big brother George Chukwu. George Chukwu, you welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you so much, Godwin, and thank you, viewers from around the world, all the way from Toronto, Canada. We welcome you to our show today.
George, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
You are welcome, George. How it is? Italy is burning. Western Europe is burning. The heat is affecting gadgets, instrument, devices, because you have to keep a steady flow of air into all of
cool
these
things
gadgets.
down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it like that there?
Sorry.
Is it like that?
Our temperature is a little better here. You know, we're on the normal temperature.
So you're welcome, George. You are
25
welcome.
degrees.
Oh, okay. Also, joining us all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, is Bidin Nana. Bidin Nana, you're welcome to Real Talk this Thursday, Friday night. It's Friday night here. Some places it could be morning, some places it could be afternoon, but it's midnight here. So how are you, Bidin?
I'm all right. Massive Mike, thanks for having me once again. Our viewers all around the world. Good day. It's midnight here in Nigeria. Thanks for joining us again on this
Thank you.
midnight show today.
It's midnight show. Yes. Please um I hope the stream goes smooth because of the heat, like I said, some of the gadgets are lagging. So there's a little hitch in that speed of the flow of internet. But it's well good, it's loud and clear. You're welcome to this beautiful edition. We want to start a topic that is very, very vital, and somehow this topic needs us to be more professional, and I know you guys can do it. Um, there is this thing called post-traumatic stress disorder that's on human beings, and trauma, and the topic generally is recovering from rape and sexual trauma. So um, it's something very delicate. A lot of people want to hear this, and I think also we should give statistics if possible. Go a little bit academical if possible on this topic because it's serious. So to start it up, I want to begin by saying recovering from sexual assault takes time, and the healing process also can be very, very painful. Um, but people can regain their sense of control. People can rebuild their self worth, because most times this post traumatic stress, what it does is destroys people's worth. You know, your esteem, what makes you what you are. So we're going to be talking about all of this, the aftermath of rape, the aftermath of sexual trauma. A lot of people have been going through. Um, there's a small statistics I have here, and it is that 1 in every 5 women in the world have been raped or sexually abused at a point of time in their lives. Yes, that's what statistics says. So sexual violence is common in our society, and a lot of people are going through. A lot of people are keeping quiet and silent, also thinking not talking about it could be the way to help them, but it's not. So also sexual assault isn't limited to women. It's also something men, boys, even the transgender people, like they say now, it's something they all go through. A lot of people go through it. So, regardless of age, gender, regardless of the orientation of people, sexual violence is going on, and the trauma after it is dealing with people, chattering people's life, even causing people to commit suicide, take their life, even die. So, George, this is it. This is the little intro. What do you say about this? Big George.
It is a very serious issue which have long-term and short-term effects in humans, especially when it happens to when people are underage, when they cannot psychologically deal with the trauma that they are facing. And because of that, most children, when they go through such abuse, they go, they hide, they sweep everything under the carpet because psychologically they're not wired to be able to deal with such situation, which in the long run can actually bring about certain behavior that might not, they cannot explain. Statistically, they have said that a lot of young girls that are abused when they were little, they end up being promiscuous. They end up associating sex with love and acceptance and all those type of things. And most of them can even, be prostitutes. So and that begs the question whether, when somebody is behaving in a certain way, what should the society, deal that individual as? Or is it, would they condemn the individual, or would they now seek to help such a person psychologically in order to balance their mental and psychological health? You see, because what happens with that is the short-term effect, most kids they will seem to be withdrawn. They don't talk so much anymore. They are withdrawn, they want to be alone. And such things can actually, create a different kind of characteristics in them, which publicly might not be so well accepted. So they can have depression, anxiety, phobias, like what you said, PTSD, and these things, they affect people's lives from childhood, even in their education, it might affect them. Even in the workplace, it might affect them. So it is a very serious issue that has long-term and short-term effects, and especially with boys,
Mm.
because boys usually, it's been like a taboo not to talk about stuff like that, and because they consider it an unnatural act at that age. You see them burying most of bury such knowledge, and
Yes.
then you see most of them end up actually into alternative lifestyle. You know what I mean, like homosexuality and all that kind of stuff. Because they don't know what to do with themselves anymore. They don't know how to identify themselves anymore. So these are some of the disorders that come, and sometimes they binge eating disorder and all those type of things. You see them
Okay,
sometimes they.
we're going to we're going to come to the effects and
Mhm,
all that happens.
mhm,
Today is more like getting to know this whole thing and
Mhm.
understanding how what it's all what it circles it. BD, the statistics says 1 in 5 women has had this experience, have been sexually abused, raped at one point in time in their life. But that same statistic says it could be higher in Africa because Africa doesn't really have that base. We know they don't get figures for things. Things happen. They no lists, nothing, no statistics. You can't really get those informations together. So, what do you think is happening in Africa? Do you think it's more in Africa, in Nigeria? Do you think more women are going through this and it's not being reported? Didi?
Obviously, it's certainly more because in most cases, most rape cases are being brushed aside. Majority of people will give you reasons why a lot of rape cases are not actually rape cases. In Africa, we've seen, not even have, we've seen where somebody is being raped and the person goes to the police station to report and they chase the person back. In some other cases, we've seen where a rape victim went to report in a police station and the person was re-raped. Do you understand? And we've seen a lot of cases where you went to report and the first question they'll ask you, didn't you enjoy it? So that's now put a lot of rape victim away. The problem of this recovering from um, rape trauma, it's even not something that is fast becoming a reality in Africa because of the involvement of the society. When someone is raped, rape is not somebody anyone planned for. It's like a surprise. Something comes to a surprise, something you were not expecting, you were not even thinking about it. And what does this thing do to people? It shuts them their existence. It stops them. That's what it does to them. It shuts them down. And now, to crown it all, someone life has been shut down, the person existence has been stopped. Now the society contributes by now silencing the person because the easiest way to overcoming this trauma is by speaking about it, talking about it. Now we live in a society whereby you're not given an opportunity to talk about it. You're not even allowed to speak about it because in the first place, nobody even accepted that you were actually raped. They give you reasons. You hear things like, where were you when this happened? What were you pitting on? What did you do that call actually call this to you? Now, they give you a lot of reasons. The majority of people in Africa, both our mothers, not just anybody, believe that before you were raped, that you must have done something to warrant that. Now it's even lighter in the side of a men when a man is raped. They believe yes he's been raped because they know it's not something that comes so often. So when a man, then they rape a man, yes, you raped him. But when a woman is raped, it comes with question: where were you? What were you putting on? What did you do? You must have done something to bring this upon yourself. So society in general has contributed a lot in making this healing process not being possible. So if we actually want people to heal, our first focus should be on the society, not on the
Our,
victim.
our first purpose should be on the society. George, thank you very much. BD, those were beautiful intro to this wonderful topic, very crucial topic. George, BD talked about what people ask when people are raped. So, and that's where some professionals were able to put it together that there are myths. There are myths and there are facts about rape and sexual assault. Myths, I mean, is things they say, like BD just said. One of such is one of the myths they say is you can spot a rapist by the way they look or act, you know, and the fact there really is that there are no sure way to identify rapists. Many may appear completely normal, friendly, charming, but somehow they are, they are rapists. So there are lots of those myths. These ones they say if you didn't fight back, that means you must have enjoyed it, like Didi said. Some people also say that you asked for it by the way you dress and the way you acted. So, George, what do you want to say about these myths, these things that they put
Well,
together?
if you have to, because culture is one thing. Culture is one thing that affects, the way people think about sex, the way they approach sex, even from marriage to any other. In Nigeria, for instance, in Africa, you can a woman cannot go to court and say my husband raped me, and it will be
Mm.
accepted. But in North America, you can. And then also another thing that can affect the way is the general cultural acceptance of certain things. For example, women were expected in Nigeria, for instance, to resist
Mhm.
when you approach them, because if they don't resist, the general consensus is that they are cheap. So when they resist, then you continue, and then they will, accept eventually. That is the norm that was then. And because the natural thing, you even see that with marriages, where a woman will not easily just open up with a husband. They resist a little bit until finally. So in that situation, actually, as a student, I went back to Nigeria, and there was a young lady they had, brought for me to date, to marry. In short, we were dating. So finally, we went out, we traveled, and in the middle of the night, I turned around, and the resistance came because, but I'm brought up in a North American lifestyle. No is no. If they say no, you stop. That's the way, and you don't go further. So when that happened, I turned around, and So the following couple of days later, she came with her girlfriend to our house, and then we were talking, and the girlfriend was like, "Oh, that your fiancé was so disappointed." I said, "Disappointed about what?" "Oh, that you guys were making out and then you stopped." I said, "Yeah." She said, "No." She's like, "No." So you know what she told me? It's like, "No, no, 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 no. That's not the way. It means stop it. I like it." And I'm like, what is that? You see, and to me, stop it. I like it is a norm or a culture that you can never bring to developed civilized countries. When a woman says no, is no. Even when you are in the midst of the act and they say no, you stop. That's what it is. And that's what I know. And that's what I
So,
was taught. And
so
that's what
that,
I
that
was cultured into.
yeah, so
So,
that means sexual preference differs from continent to continent.
no, no, it's not
Sexual
preference. The process, the process,
process, process. That's what I, yes.
okay, the
So
process differs from continent to continent because you cannot, what would you, okay, Bidi, let me ask you a question. A married woman goes to police station to report the husband, and the husband raped her. You, as an individual, what would you say?
Yes, and he will be judged for raping her.
Let me tell
Yes.
you, can I say
See,
something to you? If it wasn't
listen.
because of the influence of internet and all that, understanding the way, if it is based on Nigerian culture, it is unacceptable. I know that for
No.
sure. And a lot of people in our culture, even the police, will laugh at that individual. The only reason why some of these things are coming into our country right now is because of the influence of the Western civilization and European civilization.
Now,
No.
but
So
let's take away the
okay.
Western civilization.
Mhm.
But is it right to force someone or to have your way with someone even when the person does not want it, irrespective of whoever the person is to you?
It is not right. But the fact is, listen to what I just said before.
The
The
culture, that's
norm
what you
has
said.
been, the norm has been that even the men expect some kind of resistance at the very beginning. That has been the norm. And don't tell me that you don't know that, because you do.
Now,
Because
wait.
what happens with women is they feel like if they say yes, or and they just flow instantly, that the man will consider them to be cheap. That is the culture in Nigeria.
No, 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 no. I
Very
don't
good.
see it. I don't see it that way. Let me
That's
tell
a
you how
very
I see it. Let me. I don't see it that way. To be seen as being cheap. I don't see it that way. The way I see it is this: if you really want a woman, if you let me tell, for instance, if you really want me as a man, you should prove it. Let me give you an example. Men by nature, they are hunters. Asking a woman out for a man is like a pleasure, what enjoys doing. So, on that note, a lot of men will literally ask you out, not because they want to have something to want to go out with you, but because it's what is in them. Now, for you to really know a man that you really means to go out with you, he has to put like more effort. Let me give you an example. That is why you go to party, you go to outing, you sit with a man, you talk with him, you put dance, and the next day he sees you, he won't even remember you. That's just the way me I see it. So for a man, it's not making me look
okay.
cheap. No, I
Let's
want
not.
to be sure that this man means he needs me. That's why I will
Thank you very much.
resist.
Thank you very much, BD. Viewers listening, this is Real Talk. Today, Thursday, 14th of July, and we're saying something very, very, very crucial to all of us, to human beings. It's not. Nobody is excluded from this, because one way or the other, it affects somebody. Recovering from rape, recovering from sexual trauma, and BD, I don't want us to go totally off from what we're saying. Now, you gave some very good intro about how some people perceive rape, and sometimes what they say if it happens. Now, I want to put it to you again. Recovering from rape, recovering from sexual trauma, is it possible? Can somebody be free from that experience and live their life? Is it possible to open up and be yourself even after this very horrible act?
It's very, very possible, depending on where you are, the people around you, their mindsets, and their body disposition. Now, most times when someone is raped, the same person become what I call natural sensitive. The person picks most of the things you're not saying. You understand? It picks your body language. It picks your smile. It picks your look. That's what a lot of people don't know. Now, somebody that, like I said earlier, somebody who has been raped it came to the person like a shock. The person was not expecting it. You understand? Like you said, the person was not expecting it. Apart from this thing, they said most times the rapists know their victim. Vulnerability gives the victim in. And the person that is vulnerable, most times the vulnerable person don't even know that she or he is vulnerable. But the target knows. You know, it came to them like shock. Now, the
Okay.
best thing we can do for them, the
Yes.
best thing we can do for them is to allow them heal their own way. Most times in this part of the world, we want to dictate for them the way they should be healed.
Okay.
And
Very
most
good.
times
Thank you.
obstruct that healing.
I'm looking at our time.
It's all right.
George, heal their own way. George, what are some of these ways? I know there are lots of ways.
There
What are
are
some?
there are so many
Right.
ways to heal psychologically, emotionally, even physically, mentally. Because what happens is, the ability to talk about it, the ability to deal with the situation, and face that situation squarely. Because what happens is when they are stifled from, expressing themselves and expressing, number one is acceptance that it's not your fault. That's number one. Okay, and then you can begin from that area. You can begin to now see that individual. Okay, this is an incident. This is not the way life is. Now, you can begin to renew the person's mind in order for that person to be transformed in their character, in their way of conduct, in the way they see life. So healing is very, very possible, but it's a process. It's a process, like Billy was saying. It's not something you can force on somebody because our makeups are different. There are some people that will get up from there and move on like nothing happened, and they are able to deal with life squarely and then keep on moving. But there are others that this thing can actually either make them want to commit suicide or kill themselves or remain, bringing depression into their lives for a long period of time. And if care is not taken, it can lead to other psychosis and other kind of situation in their lives. So what happens with that is it is possible to heal, but it is all about acceptance and the mental renovation of what actually took place and how you are able to continue with your life without becoming a victim to that particular one incident that happened to you in life, affecting your marriage or relationships, or eventually affecting the way you deal with your own children. So it is
Wow,
very, very possible.
nice. Two of you, in the few moments we have. Now, what about if a rape victim is living with his abuser? Didi, few minutes. What about if a rape victim is still living? I mean, he's a spouse, he's a husband, he's a wife, and if this thing continues and you're living with this, you still have to live with this person. What happens in that
It,
situation?
what happened is that you've already killed the person, so you're just waiting the day you bury the person. Yeah. There's one we're just dealing with. Is a girl of 18 years, and the father started sleeping with her when she was 10 years old.
That's why I
And
brought
the,
this up
and the
because there are so
mother
many
and the
cases like that.
mother is aware of it, and the mother will just keep telling her, don't worry, it will be okay. Do you understand? So healing of that kind of girl or that kind of person, or maybe you have an auntie who lives with you people as a young boy, and she keeps raping, sleeping with you as a young boy. She's always there. She spend much time with you than your parents. You can't even speak. It's the healing of such people. I don't know. It's something they
If
will
you
live
hear
with.
if you hear a lot of stories on rape and their victim, you wonder it's so much. In fact, presently in the UK, there's a footballer that came out today. It's all over the news here in Europe, and in fact, the King Charles, Prince Williams, all of them are reaching out to the footballer because he said at his age 6, 7, 8, 9, the mother's friend, the woman. This is a footballer, a guy. The mother's friend was raping him. I mean, was abusing him. Now also, there's a lady there, right there in close to George, somewhere in North America, and she came out also to give a tell all how the father has been raping her for like a span of like 6, 7 years. So this is a very crucial topic to go into. George, how do you deal
It's,
with that? Few minutes, 1 minute, George. We have just a few minutes to round up. George, what would you say about living with an abuser, living with
You need God.
God?
I said, oh, seriously, because
That's it.
it's not.
Okay, gentlemen, we're coming next week. Get the facts together again. Get your insight on this beautiful topic. And our viewers are watching. We're talking recovering from rape, recovering from sexual abuse, and George and I, Bidi Nana, we're giving some beautiful insights on this. So, great people, we have to go now. We'll be back next week. We want to talk deep into this. So let's go deeper. Let's go deeper because it's a serious issue that is happening to people. Thank you very much, Didi. Thank you, George. See you guys next week.
bye.
Bye bye.